this is Reverend Don Lewis coming to you from beautiful Florida. And today our question comes to us from Anani Mouse. And Anani Mouse has this question. Anani Mouse tells us that they heard a story about a person who had a twin in the womb. And the twin died either prior to birth or at birth. And the surviving twin, now an adult, believes that their body contains the souls of both twins, and that they experience this in various ways that were not thoroughly described, but I think were in the nature of the voice of the twin being in the surviving twin's head, feeling that experiences were shared, having multiple reactions to situations, etc. And the question is, do I believe that the body of the surviving twin could in fact contain the souls of both twins? And my answer to this is that because I understand the body as an emanation of the soul, my answer would be no. But I do believe that the phenomenon described is certainly authentic, but I would describe it in a different way. I would say that it's not so much that the person's body contains the soul of the deceased twin as well as their own, but rather that soul is closely attached to them. We all have attachments to other people, as well as to situations, to belief systems, etc. We often visualize these as cords, and we've talked about cutting cords as ways to disrupt negative patterns in the past on the vlog, and not always do you want to cut them. Sometimes cords can be very positive. It's a matter of where you are at that moment. Generally speaking, however, it's better to be free of cords and create new patterns in the moment that allow the situation to progress. And what I would say is that the soul of the deceased twin is not inhabiting the body of the surviving twin, but is psychically very closely attached to the surviving twin. And so close that they may feel that they're sharing the same body, but that's not quite what's happening. And as I say, I believe that the body is the emanation of the soul, so a soul that is different from your own, I don't think can actually come into your body. Now, you can bring through messages from it, you can reach out, touch it, and get information from it, and you can be very closely attached to other souls. But another soul is not going to be inhabiting your body as such. Now, if the surviving twin found this to be a problem, what would they do? And the answer is they would want to cut those cords. They would want to cleanse and purify their energy. They might want to do a crossing over ceremony for the deceased twin, allowing them to move forward. However, I will say that if you were sharing a womb, you obviously had a very close attachment to start with. So it's not just because the one twin is deceased and the other is surviving, but they chose to come into this life as twins. They were obviously closely connected to start with. But I think it would be good to help the deceased twin to cross over through a crossing over ceremony. And there could still be communication between them. In fact, it would probably be better for the twin being fully crossed over. And I would say that in this case, the deceased twin is not, in fact, crossed over, or this phenomenon would not be happening. So those would be my thoughts on the subject. I hope you find them helpful. And until next time, may you blessed be.
Veil. Most people perceive easily only the so-called lower aspects of their being, the physical self and its sensations, the emotional self and its feelings, the mental self and its thoughts. The higher aspects of the being from which we derive such abilities as clairvoyance, telepathy, telekinesis, etc., most people can only access through much work and difficulty. Ordinarily, we have no conscious knowledge of them, unless we have been born old, in which case we have worked to develop them in earlier lives. The separation between what we consciously perceive of ourselves and our higher powers is symbolically called a veil. This is because in former times an ornamental veil was often used to screen off the sanctuary of a temple from the general temple precincts. Consequently, the idea of a veil hiding something spiritually higher seemed a natural allegory.